What's going on, guys? Aiden Smith with the Paint Pro Coaching. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the importance of getting off the tools. You heard that. Getting off the brush, not actually painting in your business. And I know this is something that so many painters struggle with to make the transition so they can start working on the business and not in the business. Guys, if you're new to our channel, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, interact with us, and maybe even share it to somebody that might need to hear this, guys. So without further ado, we'll get right into it, guys. What is the importance of getting off the tools? Before I get into that though, let me kind of backtrack and tell you my story, because I was the guy that was painting in the business. So when I first started my painting business back in Philadelphia, I started like most painters do. I was not trying to work for somebody, right? I had the entrepreneur spirit in me, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna do my own thing. And I started painting, and I actually started painting my uncle's house first. He was like a high-end carpenter in the area, super successful, and he was all about quality. And he said, Aiden, come paint my house. I'll pay you a day rate, whatever it is, whatever you want. Basically trying to help me out, support. Shout out my man, Uncle. Anyway, he would help me out get jobs, and that really got my confidence up because he made sure that I knew like it had to be done right. So it kind of lit the fire under my ass. So I kind of took that mentality to the residential jobs once I started getting jobs, and everybody loved me. They were like, Aiden, we need you on the job. Are you going to be the painter? Hey, every time I sold a job, they were like, you're the one painting? Are you painting? Hey. And then when I was done, I was always getting 5-star reviews because I was good at what I did. I thought like that's what I needed to do, right? It was like, look, they want me on the job. I make some good money. They want to pay extra to have me. Let's do it. So I did that for a while. I got to a point where I was growing and I had so much demand that I was at a crossroads, right? Because I was trying to do estimates. I was trying to manage a crew of people, plus be with them to do the painting. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't taking care of my body because all the money was coming in. I had so much work and I was so stressed trying to appease everybody, right? And my family really took a toll, right? I just had a kid and it just was a sucky time. I would get home at 9, 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. And I remember one vivid, memory I have. It's like a core memory at this point. But essentially, I was working for a guy who was giving me jobs on top of all my residential work. And he said, hey, Aiden, we have a deadline. It has to be done today. And mind you, I'm trying to juggle multiple jobs at once just by myself doing the painting. And I got home that night at like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. trying to finish. And I'm in my garage trying to prep for the next day because I had promised somebody that I'd be at their house between 8:30 and 9 with my crew. And it was me cleaning my, car out, the garage out, getting all my tools ready for the next day, not going to get much sleep, not seeing my family that day. And I was just torn. And I just broke down and I was like, I can't keep doing this. Even though the money was good, I had all the reviews, right? Everybody loved me. Like, you would think that I had everything going for me, but I was broken. My mental wasn't strong enough to, handle this. And really nobody should go through that. But I know so many painters are. So I had to commit to not being on the tools. And that's what started kind of the transition to look at the business through a different lens. So there were some other things that happened, right? I had joined CertaPro and became a commercial production manager and whatnot. And they had really taught me the overarching business, right, of things. They had showed me what it looks like to have real roles, real SOPs, to use a software, to have everybody coordinate with different communication and all that. So that's where I kind of learned the business side of things. And then I went into corporate, got my degree. And then I remember thinking, all right, I know the process now. I know quality of work. I have the business education. I have everything I need, the model, to be able to do this by myself on my own again. And that's where I made the commitment to redo everything with my business and hop back on it. And everything was so much better, right? Like, I wasn't touching a paintbrush anymore. I had real subs, real crews. I was getting way more reviews, making way more money. It got to a point where I wasn't even doing the sales whatsoever. I had a weird situation. I had my subs doing the sales just because our name was so good. We would walk in and land jobs. It didn't even matter. But yeah, so I got to a point where kind of the neighborhood I was living in, it was a little unsafe for my family, even though it was supposed to be nice. Like, we had got a nice house, all that. I remember thinking, I want to make a change. I want to make sure my family's safe, right? Moved to Florida, and I was running the business out of state and still having the same success. It was crazy. But then it came to a head because running a business is a little bit different out of state. So that kind of crumbled on me. But the thing was, if I had stayed and what I had set up, I had never had to touch the tools, and everything was so much better, guys. Everything was so much better. So if I had to do it again, and I did do it again here in Florida, and you see me right now, like I'm driving to an estimate, right? Doing this, just doing sales sales in the business and leadership and working on it, I now have so much more time to do my coaching, hang out with my family, right? Do the things we love. We travel back and forth, you know, to Philly and different places. We never had that freedom when I was on the tools. So I know I kind of, you know, segued a little bit on what my past looked like, but I'm trying to give you this because when I restarted out here in Florida, once I felt confident that I knew the area, it was a whole different business. And I made the money in 1 year that I tried to make in 3 years in Philly, right? Or had made in Philly, because I had it set up way better. I had a plan and I knew I was never going to touch this brush. We're at the point where our guys know if I come around, there's no chance I'm coming in to help them, right? It's not even on their mind. They'd rather have me not there. I actually just had this conversation with one of my lead sub guys. He goes, I don't want you at the jobs because it's more of a distraction for him, right? He's worried about me looking around for like certain things to try and like, you know, hey, point out what's wrong. So he's like, stay away. I got it. I'll coordinate everything. That's the relationship you want, right? And there's a little bit of systems that go into it. There's a little bit of a process on kind of setting expectation, but it starts with getting off the tools, guys. I know I gave you a little bit of a glimpse into like my personal situation, my history and whatnot, but it's really to let you know that you, number one, can do it, not being on the brush. The transition will be hard, right? Because when I first transitioned, a lot of my friends were working with me. Buddies that I had grew up with were working for me and with me. It was a hard transition to not show up to jobs and be a painter. They would see me as a guy like, oh, what are you doing? Chilling at home while we're painting? That was kind of the, you know, situation that was evolving once I made that transition. But I had to double down. I had to say, look, this is what I have to commit to for the long-term sustainability of my business, mental, and my family, right? And that's what I'm asking you guys to do if you're struggling with something similar. So guys, I hope you got something from this. Make sure you make that commitment. Empower a supervisor or somebody that is a lead painter that's going to take care of your jobs and your clients in the way that you will. Sometimes you're going to have to train them a little bit. You might have to get somebody a little bit more competent, pay them a little more, but I promise you in the long run, it will help your business and it will allow you to make so much more money, get so much more time back, and actually build something scalable and sustainable. So hope you guys got something from this. I'll see you guys in the next one.